Note, this video is part of a larger series on speed solving the FTO. Click the playlist link in the description to see the rest of the videos. If you're familiar with other puzzles, you'd know that color schemes are fairly standardized, but the FTO is quite the exception. Different brands of FTO pretty much all have different color schemes, some of which can be quite confusing. Here, I will briefly cover each color scheme from the most common manufacturers, as well as my own, what I look for in a good color scheme, and how to go about learning it for seamless recognition during speed solving. The most common brand of FTO is the Lan octahedron. This puzzle has white opposite yellow, red opposite blue, green opposite orange, and purple opposite gray, with blue, green, and purple surrounding white clockwise. In other words, it has the same colors as the standard 3x3 cube scheme, but with purple and gray added on extra. There is also the Diansheng brand FTO with a very similar color scheme to the Lan, except red and green are switched. The Diansheng is therefore the most similar to a standard 3x3 cube color scheme in terms of opposite colors. Red's opposite orange, green's opposite blue, and white's opposite yellow. However, both of these create an issue for me. Gray and white scramble with each other, making recognition needlessly confusing. This problem prompted me to try and develop a sensible color scheme that would end up creating good contrast between pieces in a scrambled state, and thus be simpler to recognize. I ended up deciding on this. I used the patterns of additive, subtractive, color mixing, since this has a total of 8 colors needed for all 8 sides of the puzzle. The colors I use are white, red, green, blue, cyan or light blue, magenta or pink purple, yellow, and gray instead of black. Surrounding the white face clockwise is cyan, magenta, yellow, with the rest of the colors placed based on the additive color mixing properties. In other words, green is between cyan and yellow, blue is between magenta and cyan, and finally, red is between yellow and magenta. The result is that red is opposite cyan, yellow is opposite blue, and green is opposite of magenta, though this really isn't important to actually know for solving the puzzle, but it is there. The final face, which is gray, is opposite of white, so that red, green, and blue surround it counterclockwise. I find this color scheme just works especially well because it's easier to remember, has good contrast, and the familiar white, blue, green, and red scramble with each other. In general, when speed solving using my method, the most important colors to know and be able to recognize are the 3 which surround your first center color. So, for example, on my puzzle, these are going to be light blue, pink, and yellow, which surrounds white, my first center color. I have memorized that they go in this surrounding order clockwise, and I use that to derive the rest of the color scheme when solving other parts of the puzzle. You can do this same thing for any color scheme at all, by choosing a first center and memorizing the order of the 3 colors that surround it. In every single step of solving with my method, these colors play some role within either the pattern recognition or getting the overall color scheme correct. So let's walk through them one at a time to really see the full scope of that. Remember that when solving a scrambled FTO, there are no centerpieces to guide you when creating the color scheme, so you have to memorize it, and there is pretty much no way around that. For the first center, the 3 surrounding colors, which will be on these edge pieces here, must be placed correctly relative to each other to achieve the proper color scheme. In this case, we have that correct for mine, and that guarantees that we'll actually be able to finish solving the puzzle. For the first 2 triples, the triangles that you are pairing with the corners will be one of those 3 colors, as you can see. For the equatorial centers, you must again get the color scheme correct when solving them, which involves ensuring the proper placement of the edges that have one of those 3 colors. Now, you also have the actual center colors and the opposite layer color as well, but the others really do serve as the main reference here. Completing the last bottom triple will again involve you pairing the bottom corner with triangles that use 2 out of those 3 colors. And finally, for the last 3 triples, those same 3 colors actually dictate nearly the entire recognition for this stage. The pair formation and the triangle permutation steps rely on the non-top color triangles, which you can see are still a part of those 3 faces that surround the first center color. I hope this demonstrates the importance of knowing these three colors and their placement by heart to really help streamline case recognition during solves. So in summary, this is what to do. Decide on a first center color, unless you wish to be totally color neutral, in which case it should be any center color at all, and memorize the three surrounding colors for the purpose of having the better recognition. If you want to get some replacement stickers to change your color scheme to something more favorable to you, I purchased my stickers from speedcubeshop.com using the Twisty Puzzle sticker picture option. The stickers were cut to fit the Diane octahedron, which is the same size as an FTO, and I picked the shades you see listed on screen here. The total cost comes to around $6.50 USD, excluding shipping. So now the big question. Should you change your puzzle's color scheme? Well, the answer depends on what you're looking for. If you find you can easily adapt to different color schemes, there probably isn't much detriment to sticking with what you have and learning it from there. There are a few fast solvers who can use the Landland color scheme just fine, for example. With that being said, the logically straightforward and simple layout of my color scheme is probably easier to learn for most people who are just starting out, and the two current best solvers in the world, Ed and myself, use this scheme as well. However, if you have limited access to these exact sticker colors, then there also isn't much harm in changing a couple of colors around to work with what you have. For instance, my friend Jeremy uses my color scheme, but with orange instead of light blue, and has absolutely no problem solving on it. Whatever color scheme you end up sticking with or using, remember that you will have to memorize it for solving. And the easier it is to do so, the better it will be for you in the long run. That's it for this video. Be sure to check out the others through the playlist link in the description.